Can I jump in for a second? I think
Go ahead.
you and I agree to a surprising extent. I think, I have never been one who says, look, we got to do one and two, therefore don't pay attention to the remainder of the issues on the list. But you're certainly correct that leverage, interconnectedness are two of the primary issues to be dealt with. The leverage issue, I think, is related to what I keep coming back to, which is the government guarantees. There's government guarantees not only, obviously, the straight regulatory level at which the regulatory agencies permitted leverage to a point which became simply irrational, in my view. Secondarily, I would say the government guarantees permit the capital markets to accept the leverage because implicitly the debt markets are saying, well, we know we're going to be repaid anyway because the government stands behind you. Therefore, the sort of pressure that should be applied by the private sector isn't when you have those implicit and now explicit government guarantees. And so weaning the banks from the government guarantees, I think, is also an important way to clamp down on the leverage, even though we have made some progress at a simple regulatory level in terms of leverage
and
ratio.
I'm a little concerned the issue is nobody wants the government on the hook for bank taking undue risk. That we all agree on. One way to do that is make sure they have enough capital. But the main government guarantees that exist at this point, and you pointed out during the crisis, they got a lot more guarantees which have now fallen away, is the guarantee on deposits up to $250,000, and then there is access to the Fed window, which means a bank can take collateral and basically margin at the Fed window. Those are really the two big pillars right now.
Well, but what about the implicit promise of a bailout?
Now, I mean, you'll have to be more specific. If you ask, what's the implicit promise of the bailout, I don't think there is we can debate whether what we think would happen in another catastrophe, but all of Dodd-Frank has been to basically, these living wills and all the procedures in Dodd-Frank are intended to send the opposite message. There is no bailout. Now, the reason, again, that the government had to step in this last time and might have to step in again if we don't fix it is if the failure of one institution would lead to the failure of 20 more. That would be a problem, and I think the government does have to fix that. But other than that, just remind ourselves, the only two guarantees at this moment are bank deposits and access to the Fed window.
Well, look, I'm not sure I totally agree with that because I think there is an implicit and almost an explicit guarantee that goes beyond that because the market now believes that in a moment of extremis, whatever needs to be done will be done. And again, we can debate whether that's good or bad, but I think it goes beyond the two textable guarantees you're talking about. But I think your larger point about
I agree with you that there's a debate on that, but go on.
It's a fair debate. I will posit there's a debate about it, but obviously I would believe it's there. The deeper question is when one institution fails, it's not just that they're interconnected through the derivatives markets and elsewhere. It's that they so mirror each other in terms of what the portfolios are that anything that would take one down would probably take them all down. In other words,
that's
right. I mean,
not
you
what
agree
happened.
that the structural problem would apply to all of them if it applied to any of them.
So
I got it, guys. I want to continue this discussion, but we have to go to break. This is a fascinating discussion about are banks, in fact, guaranteed not to fail by the government, that the government would step in? Is that an implicit guarantee? Is it an explicit guarantee? When we come back, I also want to talk a little bit about the issue of fraudulent foreclosures and actual criminal behavior by some of these big banks and whether the government regulators are doing enough about it. When Take Action News continues after this.